Talking about okay, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can actually start appointment setting in 2025, and it's going to be an in-depth video. I'm going to be as in-depth as possible, every single thing you need to know about appointment setting, what appointment setting is, how you can get into this space, how to land a role, how to basically do appointment setting, and also how to make your first 5,000, even $10,000 with appointment setting. And now, lastly, I will show you how to start making money even without landing a position. Right? This is definitely going to be a no-brainer, showing you exactly all this stuffs. So first, let's basically start with what is appointment setting. Now, what is appointment setting? Appointment setting is basically the tax of booking appointments, right? Appointment setting. From the name appointment setting, you're basically setting appointments. Now, in a simple term, now a person actually works into for instance, you want to get into go to the dentist, or you want to meet your therapist or something. You always book appointments in advance. Means you're saving a slot, right? You're booking appointments. So you're booking a slot where you can actually get to actually speak with someone in that business, lay your complaint or whatever, or even buy a product. Now, appointment setting is the process of getting people to actually book on a slot for basically to inquire about something, to get more information and stuff like that. That's basically appointment setting. And there are different kind of coaches. Basically, you've heard of Iman Gatti. There are people like Iman Gatti, Ty Lopez, all these guys. And one thing these guys have in common is they have a large profile, right? So they have a lot of leads coming in, and let me basically break it down. Now, businesses have this flow. So they have like a following, right? So first thing is they create content. So some create content or they run ads, right? Create content or run ads. And these ads sends people and builds a following for them. Now, this following becomes too much because they can really handle all of it, and they now hire a appointment setter. So most products are actually selling like 5, 10, 15, $20,000. They need people to actually get these people coming from content and from their following to actually book an appointment with them to actually buy this product. So for instance, a product costs like 5K. There's something the people have to actually book appointments, right? Appointments needs to be set. Appointment set. Then they make a purchase. Before they make a purchase, right? Now, in all these sections, I think I have like a diagram showing how this looks like. Okay, so this is basically what the whole appointment setting looks like. People create content, they grow their social media following, and once they actually get some, like a lot of followers coming in, they get a lot of messages. For myself, I get like close to like 20 plus DMs every single day. And once the DMs become too much, businesses and coaches, consultants, whatever business that actually sells like very high ticket offers tend to get people to in their inbox to reply to these messages. Now, appointment setters are not VAs because their sole tax is just to book people on calls. That's their sole tax. They're not selling anything, they're not growing their accounts, they're not doing all those stuff. All they're basically doing is getting these people to book a call with the business. Now, the business owner also does not actually handle these calls, but sometimes they handle this call. Now, once they book in these calls, right, they get people that are interested in this product, the service, they book in this call, then a closer actually handles it and close it, right? Now, and then they turn them into paying clients. Now, the main problem we all know, most businesses, for them to actually scale, businesses selling high ticket offers, they need more booked calls coming in. And they're not getting more book calls, it means the appointment setting is not really done well. And if the appointment setting is not done well, they need to basically fix it, because the more DMs being sent out, the more appointments being booked, and the more calls being booked, the more calls hopped on, the more closes made. Now, let's basically break down exactly. By the way, if you know all this process, you know all this stuff, you can just forward a little bit, you get to the actual process on how to land the role, and also how to basically, I recommend you stick around till the end. You learn exactly how to start making money appointment setting without even getting a position. Now, let me actually break down the next step. once you basically, this is what appointment setting, you've understand it. The next thing most people needs to do is you need to understand like basically what's the tax of an appointment setter to book calls. So the tax of an appointment setter. But before we go down into the tax of appointment setter, let's basically go to tax of appointment setter. There are other like key tax and stuff like that, but the main tax of appointment setter is to book calls, right? So book appointments. Well, let's just put, let's not use the same word, to book calls. So book prospects on a call to speak with a closer. Now that's the main task of a appointment setter. They book a call with the prospect to speak to the closer. Now, the different aspects of appointment setting. The appointment setting you do on the phone setting, right? There's phone setting, there's email setting, there's DM setting. DM could be text, could be social media, wherever DM setting, and we also have webinar setting. Now, this is basically another way you can actually do. I started doing webinar appointment setting. I'm going to really break it down at the end, showing you how you can actually start making money with appointment setting, even without actually landing a role. So there's webinar setting, there's phone setting, email setting, DM setting, and there's webinar setting. Basically setting people on appointments in mass, right? Find a way you can book a lot of appointments without actually going directly one-on-one. Now, phone setting is basically hopping on call. For instance, if a person's hops on a website, maybe like all these e-com pages and stuff like that, you go fill out your number. You have people that actually call you, right? Once you actually put in your number on these pages. Most of you have been on like a VSL page and you say like, oh, get this free stuff, get this, you put in your numbers and you get your numbers is there. Someone actually calls you to get you to book appointments with the closer to buy that product or whatever. Those are actually phone setters. They kind of call them like, basically kind of call them, they call them SDRs or triage callers. So you might hear like people say SDRs, or you might hear people say triage callers, right? So they call these leads that are actually like shown interest, dropped their number and stuff like that. Now, email setting on the other hand is the businesses that actually just need people to use your emails and stuff like that, because sending bulk emails, they don't really want to like do the route. They want to make it like personalized a little bit. So they get people to use emails to book appointments. So they get people to use emails to book appointments. And so there's an email setting. Email setting is not really that rampant. The ones that mainly people focus on right now is phone setting, right? So we have phone setting and DM setting. Webinar setting, I really haven't seen anyone spoke about it, but I've made money with it. Now, DM setting on the other hand, you can actually use social media platforms, whatever platforms on interact with prospects, okay, text message, and actually interact with prospects. The different aspects of setting is outbound, inbound. I'm going to come to that. But webinar setting, on the other hand, is getting people, a group of people to show up on a webinar, right? And the end result is to book in a call. That's how webinar setting works. Now you're really the one directly bringing these people, so the business is not running ads or anything like that. You're directly inviting people to this webinar, and they show up on this webinar, and there's a booking call at the end, right? Now the two aspects of appointment setting, this what we call inbound inbound setting, and there's outbound setting. Now, for inbound appointment setting, you basically, prospects are coming to you. So, like a profile prospect, maybe so influencer or coach or course creator or wherever they are, or business has a large following, or you're running ads, right? People are actually constantly coming to your profile, so you're getting DMs coming to you, right? So DMs are coming to you. So the messages, basically the prospects, come to you, right, in inbound. Now on the other hand, outbound, you go after the prospects, right? So you go after the prospects in outbound. You go after the prospects. So you go after the prospect. I won't really want to complicate the whole stuff to you guys, but outbound is not completely cold, right? Their prospects, maybe they left your number on a page, or they left their social media, or they've dropped something, they've interacted, or they are a follower of your page and you send them a message. If you make the first initial convo, right, whether the prospect is warm, cold, hot, it's outbound. If the prospect comes to you, whether it's warm, cold, hot, it's inbound. Now, I'm not really going to go deep into that. Now, the main thing you need to understand is how can you actually get into appointment setting. If you want to learn appointment setting, how can you learn appointment setting? Main thing, go through now. Basically, to learn appointment setting, which is the sales, to get to the sales foundation. Now, how can you learn appointment setting? Now, you could learn it through different ways. Learning appointments setting. Now, the different ways to learn appointment setting. You could definitely go through a course, maybe a paid course, or you go through YouTube, or you join communities. You could actually get like communities, right? And also you could get a mentor, or you could get like an OJT, right? On the job training. So on the job. Now, their jobs are actually like get you in and you can actually start doing appointment setting. Now, I actually learned from YouTube and on the job training, and after a while, saved up money, was able to go through a course, right? So these are ways you can actually learn. Tons of ways you can actually learn appointment setting, get the frameworks, get the whole stuff. But I'm going to jump into the framework of how you basically book appointments, what it looks like, how you look like. Now, let me break down what appointment setting looks like. The different things is objection handling, all those stuffs, this tonality in the DMs. Most people really do not teach this, but I'm going to show you guys exactly what it looks like. So how does appointment setting works, right? Now, how does appointment setting work? Let me break down the ultimate appointment setting framework, which is the framework we ever used to actually book in hundreds of thousands of dollars, and basically booking gets sets close over hundreds of thousands of dollars. So ultimate appointment setting framework. This is my ultimate appointment setting framework. Um, Now it basically looks like this. So the first thing we have is the genuine opening. I'm going to break each step for you guys, by the way. So we have genuine opening, right? How you start the whole convo. Then we have current situation. After our current situation, we have desired outcome, desired outcome, desired outcome. Then we have like problem stage. Then basically problem gap, right? It's problem gap. I'm going to explain why I call it gap. Then we have personalization of offer. Personalization of offer. Then we have CTA. Then we have follow up. Then you get commission, right? You get the sale. Now, breaking down each step, what's journey opening? This is how you start the whole convo with the person, whether inbound, outbound. The prospect comes to you. Journey opening is how you start it. Hey, Michael, I appreciate you reaching out. So, what got you interested in this? If you reached out to the prospect, hey, Andrew, I was going to your profile and I saw that it is a pitch you actually use to if you're applying. But if you're reaching out to a prospect like that, does maybe is a coach that trains fitness trains people how to be fit, and you're something like a web design solution. Hey, Michael, so I was going through a profile and I love what you did with Brian. How are you able to take Brian from this, XYZ, this? I checked out your page and I noticed there's a lot of improvement. I would love to actually show you how we can actually get you a better page to showcase all these tremendous testimonials which you have and get more people like Brian signed up to your page. By the way, here's a free template we made. Check it out if you like it. Something like this. How you start up the convo, right? Basically, that's the journey opening. You could actually do a journey opening and build rapport, right? So journey opening is basically how you start convo. Basically, how you start the convo and how you build rapport, right? How you start the convo and how you build rapport. So, how you start convo, right? And how you build rapport. Basically, rapport building. Now, this is very important. Now, once you actually do this, the next thing is current situation. Questions you ask in current situations to know where the prospect is currently at in their journey. Where they at, what they're doing now, what does their phase of their life looks like? Okay, how many calls are you booking right now with the current strategy you're doing? Or how many sales are you making? Or how many how often do you go to the gym? How often they eat. Ask questions to know where they're currently at, right? And desired outcome is asking them where do they want to be? How many calls do you want to basically book in? How many sales do you want to make? How much do you want to make? How many pounds do you want to lose? Where do you want to get to? This, those are out that desired outcome. Now, problem gaps is to know. Sometimes I ask these questions. Sometimes you might ask it. Sometimes you might actually present it. Now, by accent, presenting looks different. By accent, be like, okay, what do you think is actually stopping you from losing £500? What do you think is stopping you from actually booking more calls? Or you can be like, okay, what do you think? Basically, present it if you are able to ascertain, right? If you're able to ascertain, I could be like, okay, you mentioned that you want to actually lose XYZ amount of pounds. Do you feel like if you had a blueprint on how to actually lose these pounds, like do this, do this, do this, you feel like you not going to the gym is one of the contribution, right? Something like that. You ask problem gaps, right? You make them, oh, I think this is the problem, right? Because most people really don't know the problem they're actually facing. Like a lot of people have no clue what problems they're facing. Now, the next thing is presenting of the offer. I was actually presenting the offer like earlier. I could be like, okay, so what if we can actually help you with a blueprint and also with a diet plan and every single thing you need to actually start maybe in the next 7 days to lose over £5,000? How that basically sound for you? Right. So before I call the call to action, I might pitch if it's like a sale in a DM, but I'm not talking about DM sales, basically talking about appointments. So how do you like to book an appointment with one of our fitness gurus where you break down a proper blueprint and a diet plan you can start implementing right now to lose over basically even this week lose £1,000? Yeah, definitely makes sense because now you're presenting it as a free off. And guess what? I won't basically just say how you just like, oh, you mentioned that you would like to do this. So how do you like to get a blueprint so you can go from XYZ to XYZ? So how can you go from current situation to desired outcome and eliminate the problem gap and get to desired destination? You present it to them, basically everything they've said, right? Then get them to book a call, follow up with them before the call, follow them with them a few minutes before the call, and also follow them up after the call, right? To get them closed. And if anybody close, you make a commission, right? It's that easy. Now, what does it look like? Right now, let's say you're actually doing like DM inbound appointment setting. I'm going to break down how much you can make from inbound. By the way, outbound has no cap. Outbound has no cap. Inbound has cap based on all the messages that are coming in, right? But let's actually just say you're doing appointment setting and you're actually interacting with leads. Let's say you're interacting with like having like 100 convos every single day. So we have like, let's just do some simple maths, right? Simple maths simple maths of how much you can actually make doing this. All right, so how that's basically what you do in appointment setting. Qualify and disqualify a prospect. That's what appointment setting is. And get them to book a call. So let's do simple maths. Let's say you're doing like 100 convos. I'm actually doing like BM minimum right now. 100 convos daily. And let's say from these 100 convos, you are booking only 3 calls, right? Which is very bare minimum. Let's just say you're booking 5 calls, which is like very low. So booking 5 calls booked, and let's say you're working like 6 times a week. So 6 times a week, which means you're basically booking like 30 calls, 30 calls, 30 calls a week. And 30 calls a week is on average, you're definitely booking in like 60, that's 120 calls a month. So 120 calls a month, right? Now, once we actually now this is what you're doing. Now the business owner handles the next. Now say the closer has like a good close rate of like 35%. 35% good is a very definitely a very good close rate. Now let's actually say 35%. Let's actually even say the closer has a lower close rate, which is like definitely let's just say closer has like 20% close rate. So 120 calls multiplied by 20, 20, 20%. So 120 calls multiplied by 20. That means the closer is actually closing like a 20% close rate. So it's a 20%. Before close rate, we have to have like show up rates, right? Let's say we have show up rate. Let's say the business has like a 70% show up rate. So first is 70% show up rate, which is low. Usually business have like 80%, 90%. But let's just be bare minimum right now. So 120 calls a month, 70% show up rate, which means like 84 calls actually hopped on. So 84, 70% show up rate is 70% show up rate, which means 84 people actually show up on the call. Now, if 84 people show up on a call with a 20% close rate, the 20%, okay, we didn't actually mention 20%, 20% close rate. Now, 20% close rate is 20% divided by 20. I think that's like basically 16 calls. 16 calls closed. 16 closed calls. Basically 16 closes. And let's say the offer actually costs like 3K, right? So the offer costs $3,000. That's you've brought the business 3K is the offer price. And that means you brought the business $48,000. Right? So you brought the business $48,000, and $48,000. Let's say you're actually getting like 5% commission on that. So 5% commission. Now a 5% commission. So 5% commission. You're basically making 2,400. Right now, if you do more convos, have more booked calls, have more close rates, increase the show up rate, you can definitely make more. Right, you see how it is. If the business has like a 35% close rate, right, if you have like a 35% close rate, you're definitely going to make more. Right, this is how easy you can actually calculate how much you can make. Right now, key things you need to know is how many calls am I booking every single day, and how many calls are actually showing up, and what's the current close rate of the business. You can use that to calculate how much you will make at the end. Now let's actually jump straight into how can you actually land a role. How can you land a role where you're making this amount of money that you see on your screen? $2, $5, $10,000 a month. Super easy. First thing everybody will tell you is there are different platforms to actually use. They'll tell you of platforms to use: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. There's over different platforms they will tell you can actually use to land a role. But let me tell you for a fact, the platforms do not really matter at the start. The reason why a lot of people do not land a role is, first, they've gotten the sales foundation, which I've actually explained above. The sales foundation, you know what the appointment setting foundation looks like, what you need, how it looks like, and how you can actually implement it. The next thing is the sales position. Now, for you to land a sales position, you don't, same way you do appointment setting with a strategy, same way you land a position with a strategy. Now, you need a strategy to land a role. And what's the strategy I always tell people to use? Told them to use a 2Q PCL strategy. So 2Q PCL plus O, right? Plus O strategy. And what does it look like? Random abbreviation. What does it look like before we go down to the platform? First Q stands for quality, quantity, consistency. So positioning first, positioning, consistency, and then we have leverage. Leverage. I'm going to come down to the O, but the O actually implements itself in every single of the stuff. If all these pillars are not actually set, your O won't actually work. And what does O actually mean? Outreach. Now, most people just tell you, oh, you could start doing outreach to businesses and you definitely land the role. The reason why a lot of people are actually stuck is because everyone is watching these YouTube videos and implementing the same stuff and not landing a role. Now, if you want to land a role, you need to have a strategy. Now, the strategy is what separates you from a lot of people, because I always tell people, if you do what everyone else is doing, you see the same result everyone else is saying. So for you to see a different result, you need to do what everyone else is not doing. And what's everyone else not doing? They don't have a strategy. And how you have a strategy makes you different. Now, first thing is quality, second is quantity, third is positioning, fourth is consistency, then leverage. Now, quality, basically, quality is actually broken down into two, right? First thing is the quality of the business and the quality of your strategy. Basically, quality of your outreach, right? So, outreach goes down into quality. So, we have quality of the business. So, the business needs to be quality, and your outreach mechanism needs to be quality. Now, once you go down into the business, it's different like stuff you need to actually check out for a business to have before you apply to them. Like I always say, if you want to work with a Fortune 500 company, you need to apply to a Fortune 500 company, and you need to know what a Fortune 500 company looks like. So the first thing a business should have, which you should actually always look out for, is lead flow. Now, what did your current lead flow looks like? Are they getting the leads? Are the leads like cold? The leads cold, warm, or hot? Right? What kind of lead is actually coming in? Is the lead constant? Constantly coming in? If the leads, usually if you're getting one, imagine you're getting like one hot lead coming into the door monthly, and the product costs like $1,000. Definitely rubbish, right? No matter a person tells you that, oh, this offer is good now, you need a constant lead flow. Leads that basically could be any of these three, but should actually be coming in, right? If you want to get easy interactions, warm and hot leads are actually the best. But hot leads, definitely they need to be like consume the contents, right? So the lead flow is actually key. The lead flow determines the lead source, right? The lead source, basically there's lead source and there's lead flow. So the lead source and the lead flow is what determines how a business actually thrive basically, because a business without lead flow will die. You don't hop on a business and 2 months the business is dead. So lead flow is key. Next is, what is your current book call rate? Right? You need to actually be booking call already. So you don't just want to hop on a business that has no framework, they've never booked a call, they're just completely clueless. Their book call rate, you need to actually know that, okay, how many calls are they currently booking with the strategy they're using, right? Then the next thing is show up rates. Now, this is very key if you're working as a closer. If you're working as a closer, if they're working as a closer, you want to know their show up rates, because this actually tells you, okay, but the current strategy they are using and the current appointment setters they have, it means that I'm going to be getting this amount of calls showing up on my calendar. And the next thing you want to know is close rate. So if you're working as a setter, the close rate is very important, because if your calls are not being closed, you're not making money. Except you're working on an offer that pays you per appointment. But most offer pay you per set close. And what the set close means, for every appointment books that closes, they pay you, right? So book call rate, close rate, show up rate. The next thing is they should have an offer that is sellable, right? They should have an offer that is sellable or in demand. An offer that is sellable or in demand. Very important. An offer is sellable or in demand. The next thing you want to actually check about is a business that has testimonials, and not just random testimonials, positive testimonials, right? Next thing is, what does your fulfillment structure looks like? Because if the person buys a product, they need to have a good fulfillment structure in place for them to actually get this product, service, or whatever. So these are key things you need to actually check out when you're actually applying to a business. The next thing you want to actually look at is your outreach. Like I said, the business needs to be quality. If the business is quality and high quality and everything is there, you need your approach to reach out to this business to be quality. Now, the first thing you need in place is your application asset. I think in my last video, I actually told you guys I was going to tell you what an application asset looks like. This is things you actually have in place when you're applying for to a business. So application assets. Before I actually break down, let me break down what application assets actually entails. We have your pitch. Basically, first thing you need is your profile, right? And you need an optimized profile. Optimized profile. Z. Optimized profile. Then you have your intro video, kind of say Loom video, but intro video. Then we have your pitch, intro pitch, very important. It's how you get into the DMs. Then you could definitely use other tools and stuff, but you just have a resume. These are key stuffs you actually need. The other stuffs you might need, right? The stuffs you might need, but your profile actually comprises most of the stuffs you basically need. Your tools, equipment, and all the stuffs you need. Like, well, most of them you get them when you're actually working with the business. But these are the key arsenals you need when you're applying to a business. Very important is a intro video. Very, very important. These two are very important, right? Now, the rest are also important. Next thing after your application assets is your the platforms, right? Now, the platforms you basically pick. Now, you see where platforms is actually coming in place. Platforms you pick actually falls in here because your outreach should be good and high quality. The platforms you pick and how you use those platforms matters a lot, right? How you use these platforms, how you implement these platforms matters a lot. Now, the next thing is quality. Now, let's jump into quality. Now, what quantity? Sorry. Now, in as much as quality beats quantity every single day, I always say, but when you imagine you had 100 of these businesses to apply to, the chances of you landing a good role increases. You get, you had 100 of these businesses to apply to, the chances of you landing a good opportunity increases. This is where quantity comes in place. Applying to more and more high quality businesses every single day, right? Now, the next thing is positioning, being at the right place at the right time. This is being at the right place at the right time. How can you be at the right place at the right time? Join communities, right? Join communities. This is very important. I always say, like, if you want to work with a specific niche like real estate coaching, course creation, specific niche, you can find communities specific for these people, join it, and you're in front of your prospects directly. Like, you're in front of them directly and you can pitch yourself to them directly. Like, this is how you can actually be in the right place at the right time. Not just that, events, programs, seminars, webinars, communities, platforms to actually is another thing, right? Platforms to um paid communities also. One of my students used this exact strategy to land a role by paying like I think like 50, I think it was like $25 or like $50, joined into this community and was studying it for months, right? And then applied to the role. So the person, I was like, oh, this person is from my community, he's applying for this position. And by the way, the position was only posted in the community, and he wouldn't have seen it if he wasn't in the community and he didn't take the step to invest in that community. So this is some key stuff you want to do. Like, also for profile optimization, one thing I always tell you, like, if you want to send more messages on platforms and you want to like stand out when you're applying to positions, just buy the verification mark. Like on Instagram, buy the verification mark. On Facebook, buy the verification mark. Just pick up one of the platforms. If you have money to actually invest in all the platforms, good. But if you don't have money to actually invest in all the platforms, just pick one of the platform and focus on that platform and buy the verification mark. You actually stand out in this whole crowd of people just using your random profiles to apply. Now, the next thing is consistency. I could actually teach you all the stuff, but for consistency, you need to ask yourself, why are you taking 1 week off after applying to a position? You apply to one position, you take 1 week off, apply to another. That's not really what you want to do. You want to stay at it. I always tell people to put 2 hours every single day into applying to positions, into learning the skill set every single day. In a month, you basically put 60 hours. You put 60 hours, you're definitely going to get ahead of every single person that's taking that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1 week break, right? You need to be ahead of people, and the only way you can be ahead of people is by putting more work. Right? Alex Mote once said that if you get into a company, the best way to actually be a top performer is to check what the top performer is doing and outdo them. If they're spending like 5 hours a day, you can't spend 5 hours a day and actually outdo them. You have to spend 10 hours a day. You have to outdo people. Find what is the bare minimum in this space and do an extra, right? And then leverage. I always say, what makes you stand out? Now, if you have previous experience, use that. If you work in fitness before or you love going to the gym, use that. Find what makes you unique. If they put you in a room with 10 other sales rep applying for a particular position, what will make you stand out? What do you think makes you stand out? Is it more hours? Is it the fact that you know how to not just say you know how to speak, you need to show it. There's stuffs you need to show, there's stuffs you can say. What makes you unique in a room of 10 other sales rep, in a room of 100 other sales rep? What will make you stand out? That's your leverage. Find what makes you unique. Find what makes you different. Find what you actually have that everybody can kind of put in. That's what makes you different. Now, this is where your outreach actually comes in place, right? Your outreach quantity, quality, positioning, all this stuff are actually key. Now, let's actually jump straight into now, how can you basically make money with appointment setting without landing a role? Now, this is where webinar setting comes in place, and this is where DM closing comes in place. I'm not really going to go deep into DM closing because I'm teaching you guys what appointment setting is. But I'm going to show you how to basically do webinar setting. Now, if I found an offer, I'm going to use a fitness offer. Let's say we're actually selling a fitness offer and how to basically for pregnant ladies to stay fit or lose weight, or just basically your pregnancy fitness coaching, right? Pregnancy fitness coaching. So this is the offer we're actually selling. I'm going to break down exactly how we can actually make money with this, right? So first thing we do is to find different coaches, right? We've picked a niche, which is the first thing. Like the first thing we need to do is to pick a niche. If you want to start making money without actually like, let me actually write it out for anyone who forward the video to this part. So how to make money with appointment setting without applying for a position. Without applying for a position. Now, the way you actually do this is first you pick a niche. You need to know what you want to actually sell for. Right? You want to know what you want to sell for. Once you know what you want to sell for, let's actually make this like heading tree, right? Once you know what you want to sell for, the next thing you do is to pick a niche. Now you pick a niche. Once you pick a niche, the next thing, like for instance, we picked a niche right here. We picked pregnancy fitness coaching. And next thing we do is to find creators or coaches that actually sell this stuff, right? Find coaches very easy. Go on Instagram, go on YouTube. YouTube is like the best. Go on YouTube, type in how to keep fit when you're pregnant, all the stuff. You see a lot of people teaching this stuff. Find your profiles on Instagram, find your profiles on like Facebook, and reach out directly to them. But this is two ways. First, I'm actually going to recommend this to you guys. Like for the second way, you need someone that actually has a sense for business to actually do that. But if you don't want to just do that, you want to just focus on appointment sets, and recommend you do this strategy. For me, what I did is I built like an extra funnel and send people to that. I really don't sometimes do not even reach out to this business because some of them might be busy, they might not respond back to me. So what I would just do is to find a bit of product that's actually very good, right? If it's like $500, I sell it for $1,000, like drop shipping, something like that. I basically put it for $1,000. I sell it, get people signed up, pay $500, get them signed up, and make $500 extra. That's the process I actually do. Right? It's very easy. You find a product that actually costs a digital product that actually costs this price. I don't even care about partnership. I make sure that it's in demand. People like the people. The face of the brand actually makes sense. Sell it at the higher price. Maybe add some bonuses. I always do that. Add some checklists, bullet points, and stuffs like that to it. So basically justify the price I'm adding it to. Sell it, get them onboarded, give them the free resources via email, and then move on to the next person. And the sweet part about that process is I can also market back to the same people because I'm actually building a list. But if you're just starting out, you really don't understand how to do this because me, I could do this because I came from a background of running sales funnels. I was actually having a sales funnel agency. And so I was running sales funnels. I knew how to basically build sales funnels and like stuff like that. But for you guys, you just pick a niche. Next thing is find a creator or coach, actually teach this stuff. Next thing is to shoot them with a partnership. So you pitch a partnership, but the partnership you're pitching now is quite different. I'm actually going to show you. Pitch a partnership, but here's what you're going to do. Make sure they have a coaching offer, right? A coaching offer that is very high ticket. That's when you can actually make like good commission. So I've done this exact stuff with a different offer, not this is basically niche, but I'm going to show you how to do it with this niche. So make sure you pitch a partnership. Maybe let's say they have like an offer that's like 3K, right? Or like $3,000. And let's say they have like a offer that's like $3,000, right? Basic $3,000. What we then do is to pitch them a partnership, right? Pitch them a partnership by the people that will pay like 3K to stay fit when they're pregnant. Kind of all these fancy housewives and stuff like that. So best way to find them is join all those fancy housewife groups. You can also join pregnancy this fitness groups and pregnancy, how to stay. Just find all these communities for these people, right? So first thing we do is to pitch them a partnership. Hey Michael, I see what you're doing. Or hey Michelle, I see what you're doing. Love how you basically help pregnant ladies to stay in fit, and also those that have actually given back to actually get back to your shape. I love what you're doing, and I noticed you're selling a coaching program that costs X amounts. Sometimes we might not know the price. I noticed you're selling a coaching program, and I would love to partner with you. By the way, you don't need to pay me a dime. I'm willing to actually send you over 50 or 100 booked appointments in the next 3 months, something like that, right? So they'll be like, oh, no brainer. I'm actually all I need from you is just your website, right? And if you can actually hop on video calls or video meetings and just talk about what you do, and we'll get people to actually sign up or book a call with you. You pitch them. I usually use voice message because you can actually portray the message very easy. What I then do is to get them to partner with you because there's no actually payment upfront. Then what I do is to join communities, groups, where these ideal prospects are, and then invite people to a webinar, right? I invite people to a webinar. Make sure the webinar we're having it like weekly. So I invite people to a webinar using a simple pitch, post, value post. So let me just jump straight into the next thing. So how we once we basically come into a partnership, how to basically get leads. Next thing we do is to find communities. Find communities. Basically find and join. Find and join communities with the ideal prospects. Then once we join these communities, we then create like three kind of posts. So we have value post, then we have like lead magnet post, then we have like straight up pitch post, right? But not all communities allow straight up pitch posts. Now, not all communities allow straight up pitch posts, but some actually do. So we create all this kind of posts, and all the CTA to all this stuff is leading people to register for the webinar, right? They register for the webinar, and now you're doing actually you're doing one to many. Imagine you actually get 100 people on a webinar. right? In a month, you get 100 people sign up on a webinar. Within 4 webinars handled in a month, 100 people show up on a webinar, and you actually have like 16 of them actually close. 16 of them close at 3K. What do you make? $2,500, right? The more you can actually do this, the more you can actually make money. But I don't just stop here. You get me now. I don't just stop here. Now, I get people to show up on the webinar. I might moderate the webinar also. You can actually moderate the webinar really easy. Just answer questions in the DM, control the webinar, stuff like that. So you moderate the webinar and you drop in your booking call, maybe have like a unique booking call, then you book people appointments, book calls after webinar, right? The webinar is just straight up value, like straight up value. People on calls, the calls close, you make money. Now, the way I actually increase the amount of people showing up, I use something called appointments setting arbitrage. Arbitrage. Correct spelling? Not the correct spelling. So I use something called the appointment setting arbitrage. So I go out, I find a couple of setters, right? Maybe from different places. If you have money, you could do it this route. There's two ways. You could get commission only setters. So I get commission only setters or $2, $3, $4 setters, VAs, and I get these people to do the exact same task I'm doing. They join communities too, right? So I get setters, I might get like 3 to 5 setters or VAs, right? And I get them to do the exact same stuff I'm actually doing. They join these communities, make posts, and then invite people to the webinar. So if I'm actually able to bring like 50 people to a webinar, they also bring, if one each person is have like 3, bring 50 people each, we have like 200 people to the webinar. Good close show up rates, we get more people show up. It's the same thing. I get more people to actually do the same stuff. And how do you pay them? You could pay them straight up $2, give them a certain percentage of your sale. And sweet part about the webinar appointment setting is you can actually negotiate a higher pay instead of 5%, right? You can actually negotiate a higher pay instead of 5%. And the sweet part about this, you can actually sell low ticket offers, which you can actually get higher pay. Like maybe you're selling $1,000 product, you can get like a high pay as high as 20%. I mean, as high as 20% commission is what you can actually get from deals like this. And if you're getting 20% of this, you're basically making like $600. Now, $600, all you need to make 6K or past 5K is 10 sales. 9 sales, you basically fast 5K already. This is how easy it is to actually make money with appointment setting without landing a role, right? So this is like a full training on what you need to do appointment setting from scratch in 2025. Okay, this process works. Now, I've actually gone in depth. If you want to actually learn how to land a role in the less than 14 days, how to land a very high quality role in less than 14 days, I recommend you sign up to the sales channel down below. Also, for anyone who signs up to the sales channel this month, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can start doing webinar appointment setting even without landing a role. Just sign up to the sales channel. I think it's going to be in the description. And also, I have a free 7-part course breaking down exactly how you can actually implement the 2QPCL strategy and what platforms to use, because I didn't really mention platforms here. You have different platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, different platforms actually used to land roles, right? You could use all these platforms, but usually I tell people it's not really the platform, it's the strategy, right? It's the strategy that helps you land role. It's not really the platforms. If you have a strategy and you go on any platform and implement that same strategy, it works. If you go to Instagram, find quality offers, send more quantity, a lot of messages, position yourself in the right place, be consistent, and you have leverage, you're going to land a role. Whatever platform you use and implement the strategy, you're going to land a role, right? And the sweet part about the whole stuff is the same strategy we use here. Strategy still works for this offer in selling it. It's like it's not rocket science. So if you want to actually learn this, I created a 7-part free course. You can actually join it. You see down in the description. And also, if you sign up to the sales channel this month, I will teach you exactly how to do this stuff completely as a bonus. So I'll see you guys in the next video.